I think really what I love parents to understand is think about marketing in a business. If you open a business and you just start marketing, but you don't have a business plan, you're either going to run out of money or ideas.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that's with a student. When you start them in middle school and you help them figure out their gifts, their talents, their core values, and you start to look at your financials as a family, that gives you a runway of how are we going to build our plan. And that's what it's all about. It's all about the plan.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition Podcast, an auditory journey through the latest in marketing, branding, and advertising. Now, here's your Marketing Expedition guide, Ray Allen.
On this episode of the Marketing Expedition Podcast, I get to speak with Shellee Howard, and she's the founder and CEO of College Ready and CR Future Now, a certified independent college strategist and a best-selling author. A member of HECA and SOFA, she helps students gain admission to the best fit colleges, often debt-free. As a mother of four, Shellee has firsthand experience with college success. Her son graduated debt-free from Harvard, earned his MD from UCSD, and is now an Orthopedic Surgery Resident at UCLA. Her daughter earned her BSN debt-free and became an RN in 2021. A sought-after speaker and consultant, Shellee has guided hundreds of students worldwide to top universities, ensuring they graduate debt-free and land jobs they love. We are going to talk all about Shellee's expertise and bring insight into how you're marketing as a student to these colleges. And we're going to go on a marketing expedition and hear all about her passion about going to college debt-free and how you can use your strengths in doing this. So stay tuned for that. But first, it's time for our Marketing Essentials moment, the basics that you need to help you continue to build your brand and your bottom line.
Today, I wanted to talk about clickbait and switch. I think we're all guilty of clicking on things that maybe are just too good to be true. I was scrolling along the other day and I thought, okay, a mystery dessert that shreds pounds and crushes cravings and helps you hit your goals and, no sweat, no celery sticks required. Spoiler alert, I'm still waiting for my magical cheesecake. But let's be honest, clickbait is everywhere, from miracle weight loss trends and treats to doctors hate her secrets, or, oh, sign up for this free iPhone giveaway. The internet is serving up more empty promises than a bad first date. Why do we keep falling for it, and how do we protect ourselves and our waistlines from getting duped? So, number one, spotting the clickbait. A recipe for disappointment. If you've ever clicked on a headline that sounds too good to be true, you're not alone. These digital sirens are designed to lure us in with wild claims and shocking secrets and the promise of effortless results, right? Yeah, my latest run-in with that dessert ad, I followed the breadcrumb trail a little bit, only to find a never-ending sales pitch, a sketchy supplement, and zero actual desserts. Talk about bait and switch. And I fell for it because, we all want to have this miracle weight loss, right? We all want to try to do what we can. And you know what? Weight loss miracles aren't the only flavor of clickbait. There are fake giveaways. Share this post to win a Tesla, or I've seen AI generated news that makes the onion look legit. And of course, one weird trick for everything from clearing your skin to clearing your mortgage. If it sounds like it belongs in a fairy tale or a late night infomercial, it probably does. And number two, why we take the bait. Blame your brain and maybe your sweet tooth. Let's face it, our brains love shortcuts. Give us a headline that promises instant abs or a free trip to Hawaii, and suddenly our inner skeptic is out to lunch. It's science. We're wired to want quick fixes, especially when they're wrapped in sprinkles and served as dessert. Marketers know this, and they're playing 4D chess with our dopamine. That's why clickbait headlines are full of urgency. like don't miss out, right? The mystery, doctors are stunned, and just enough curiosity to make us click and click and click. And before you know it, we're 12 tabs deep, still no dessert, and our credit card company is asking us if there's a suspicious credit card account on our credit cards, right? So let's look at red flags. Number 3, how to outsmart the bait and switch. So here is some clickbait kryptonite. We want to give you some classic warning signs. Again, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably belongs in the fairy tale or in a spam folder. Look for missing sources, blurry before and after pics, or, some testimonials from Jane S., who may or may not actually just be a stock photo. Watch out for the fake urgency. Only 3 hours left. Sure. Right. And if you have to pay shipping for your free prize, it's not free. It's just a creative invoice. And my personal favorite, the endless scroll. If you're reading a pitch longer than War and Peace and still don't know what the product actually is, it's time to hit the eject button. Section 4, how to avoid getting hooked and still enjoying the dessert. Google it. If the claim is real, you'll find credible sources, not just a sea of affiliate links where people get paid because you click on it. Use browser tools like ad blockers and spam filters. Think of them as your digital bug zapper. Ad blockers can help. We can unfollow ads, or we can unfollow people who are serving up the clickbait, right? You can unfollow them, block them if you want. Really what you're wanting to do is train the advertising that comes to you to be relevant information. There's no getting away from the ads, but we all know that. Ads are what helps fuel our GDP. Marketing is a noble cause when it's done right with authenticity. And ask yourself, would I believe this if my grandma sent it to me in an email chain? Because, sometimes grandmas like mine will send us stuff that isn't quite right. And when in doubt, phone a friend or your favorite marketing pro like me. Conclusion, scroll smart, laugh often, and pass the real dessert. Clickbait isn't going anywhere, but that doesn't mean we have to fall for it. Next time you see a miracle food or a secret trick or a deal that sounds sweeter than grandma's apple pie, remember, the only thing you should be clicking on is unfollow or block or put it in the spam. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and if you do find that dessert that melts pounds and cravings, call me first, okay? And if you want your brand to stand out for the right reasons and not as the next miracle meme or miracle dessert meme, right? Focus on authenticity, transparency, and real results. And at Peppershock, that's what we do. We help businesses build trust, not clickbait. And if you want help crafting an honest, engaging, and relatable content that's really going to actually get to your audience, that actually converts, let's talk about it so that we can make the honesty happen through your advertising and get to the right people, and we're not doing these wild claims and all that, right? I'd love to hear from you, and I want to see what clickbait got you. Send out a message to us. Let us know. And avoid the clickbait and switch and those miracle desserts. Don't take the bait, and outsmart those viral scams and snack on the truth. All right, let's get to our interview.
Welcome to the Marketing Expedition podcast. This week's guest is Shellee Howard. Welcome to the show, Shellee.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to speaking with you.
So your purpose and passion in what you do is slightly different than some of our guests that I've had on the show, but I'm really excited to talk to you. One, I have a college student and one that's about to be a college student. So for my own intention, this is good. But for those listening, those of us who are in marketing, what we're really talking about here is marketing yourself and your student to get scholarships, right?
Absolutely. Many people think of college as an emotional connection, and it's really about how to set your student apart, which is what we do with marketing.
Absolutely. And so I just want a little bit of more background, like what got you into this? Why is this something that you have become so familiar with and help others do?
So College Ready was started, we're going on our 18th application season, and it was never my intent to be an independent college strategist. But when my firstborn came home in 8th grade and said, Mom, I want to be a brain surgeon, I want to go to an Ivy League school, I'm like, oh, all right then. And at the time, I was not a consultant. Let's see, I was doing my 6th business I had started. So I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Ah,
And so I approached it as I would start a business, which, as you know, marketing people, without marketing, there is no business. And
absolutely.
so
Good.
I reverse engineered it and I put his strategy as I would a business plan. And part of that is building his marketing strategy. So that's what I'm hoping I can share with your listeners.
I love that. So let's just back up a little bit. You said 8th grade. I love that for him, that he already knew at that point in time what he wanted to do. That is phenomenal, because most 8th graders, that's not their concern right away. And so, I mean, starting at eighth grade is a great, I think, it's a great place to start, right?
Sure. And, I have 2 boys and 2 girls. So I have 4 children of my own. And I know all children are ready at different times. And so when
Mhm.
people ask me when is the best time to start, I often tell them, how mature is your child? I
Mhm.
have some 7th graders in my program right now who are more mature than my seniors. And
I believe it.
so
I believe it.
I don't think it's an age thing, right? We know our children. Some of them just come out mature and we just hopefully we parent them well. And
Mhm.
that was my firstborn. And so he was always very focused and he knew what he wanted. And, my other 3 took totally different paths and they also had their own marketing plan for success. And so I think really what I love parents to understand is think about marketing in a business. If you open a business and you just start marketing, 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 but you don't have a business plan, you're either going to run out of money or ideas.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's with a student. When you start them in middle school and you help them figure out their gifts, their talents, their core values, and you start to look at your financials as a family,
Mm.
that gives you a runway of how are we going to build our plan? And that's what it's all about. It's all about the plan.
And for those that are stressing out, who have seniors in high school and haven't figured it out yet, what would you tell them?
Oh, the beautiful thing is, right? There's people in this world who are just procrastinators. There's people who have their head in the sand and they're like, "But I don't want my kid to leave." And then there's truly the ones where the student is left to figure it out on their own and they don't have a clue on how to do it. So they're deer in headlights and they do nothing.
Mhm.
So my encouragement to those who are listening who are in that situation is simply this: they need help. Is that help going to be you? Is it going to be a independent college strategist? Is it going to be a high school counselor? Like they need somebody.
Yeah.
And that's the recommendation. I have 2 that I'm meeting with today,
Mhm.
as you brought it up, and they
Mhm.
were in tears this weekend. We need you. And I feel for them. They said, I thought my son had it.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh, that's like leaving your marketing to somebody who's never marketed before.
Mhm.
Ugh. And it just felt so heavy because just because you can post on social media doesn't mean you're a marketer.
Right.
Just because you go to high school doesn't mean you know how to go to college.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's interesting because right at that age, there's a little bit of tug of war going on between what the parents want, what the student thinks they want, and somewhere in the middle, you have to find that middle ground. But giving them the opportunities to open the doors for scholarships is a huge step in one direction that can at least give them those options that they may otherwise not recognize that they have, right?
Absolutely. I tell families all the time we plan for retirement, we plan for a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We plan to buy a home. We plan to buy a car. Like, we have all these plans, but somehow college planning either gets overlooked, or because it's intimidating, they're just like, oh, I don't even want to deal with it. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, right, that's the problem. It's like going to buy a car and paying full price that the sticker says. Who would do that?
Right. Negotiation skills are a must.
For sure. And that longer runway gives us more room, because the FAFSA looks at the second semester of the sophomore year and the first semester of the junior year. So if you're a rising senior, you just left 50% of scholarships off the table because you didn't start sooner. And I'm
Right.
sorry, I'm just the messenger.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And I think that it's hard when, I mean, not to, put any high school counselors down in any way, because they, they pour their heart, they serve, they give, but they're so inundated with so many students all at once that they can't necessarily always give that undivided attention that a student might need, right?
And some of my best friends are high school counselors, and they are such wonderful
Bless their
people.
hearts. Aw.
Their caseload is thousands. Mine, I only take 20 per grade.
Mm,
So just in that alone, the other thing is your high school counselor has no clue what your family can or cannot afford.
right.
So they may be able to help your child pick a school to apply to, but they may not know your child well enough to know, is this a good social fit? And most importantly, is your child or family going to go into debt? Because nobody's talking about that in the high schools.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's, I think, a fear that our next generation has. They've seen their parents go through so much debt in paying their, trying to pay their student loans off. And my generation, we had no real guidance on getting scholarships, and, you go into debt forever, and they don't want that. They don't want to be in debt. And so I think college institutions, universities are struggling to get new recruits in because of the fear of debt. Do you agree?
So there's some people who do believe that, and that is one of the myths.
Mm.
UCLA just had its record applicants.
And so did
They've
Boise
never
State. Yeah, Boise State just had a record, which is
had,
interesting, but some of them are not. It's very interesting.
so all of the well-known schools, all the ones who have a sports team to be, proud of, they're not hurting at all for applicants. It's insanely competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the difference is students are now asking, why do I need a college degree?
Mm.
My parents did not use the major they chose, and I don't see the benefit. And I love that they are challenging the system. I think it's amazing. That's why I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But here's what I want parents to think about. If they don't go to college, what will they do?
Right. And what are the options of what can they take, and what, I mean, there's lots of skills, where they can learn and do community college routes, and that's perfectly great for
Sure.
those that need it. But then again, you still have to pay for that. And so I'd love for you to dig in without giving away the farm, obviously, you do this for a living, but what are some just basic tips of things that, especially for those first generation college students who've never had parents who've gone before, what would you recommend to them?
So I love that question. And because you are a marketing show, I'm going to kind of put it in a marketing perspective. When you go to market a company, what's the first thing that you do, Ray?
Well, you got to put together your resume and
Okay.
do some research so that you can, understand who it is that you're going to want to do business with.
Perfect. That's exactly what you do for college.
Mm-hmm.
So step one is you're figuring out who you are, what matters to you, what you advocate for, and what have you done about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's your resume. They want to know your GPA, your test scores, community service, leadership, extracurriculars, letters of recommendation, and your essay.
Right.
But that's your resume. So just like you would for any other thing that you're applying to, you are going to set yourself up for success. But here's the thing that I am encouraging families to do differently than they might have done. Step one is help your teen, starting as soon as they become a teen, even sooner if you want, have them do community service because it helps them figure out, do I like people? Do I not? Do I like elderly, children, homeless, beach clean? You know, what gets me excited to not be all about myself, right? Step one, they spend so much time on their phone and with influencers and everybody's best day that they're like, well, I'm never going to be that. Well, who is? Right?
Right.
Who is? So when we build their resume, we start with them. I ask a student when I start working with them, who are you? And they look at me like I've lost my mind because nobody is asking them, who are you? And then I say, who do your parents think you are? Who does your best friend think you are? Who does your teacher think you are? And now all of a sudden they're seeing, wow, there's some overlap here. I must be a leader, a gatherer, a connector, they start to be able to think, I am something. And that's the first sign that they're starting to show maturity. The second thing is you help them to figure out what are their gifts and talents and core values. Because if they're going to do something in their future, it doesn't matter if it's college, trade school, being an influencer, it really doesn't matter. What matters is if they're doing something that they're good at, they're going to love it. If they don't, they're not going to like it very much at all. And that's what I want families to think about, because as soon as that student has to sit down and write an application for a job or an application for college, they're going to be asked, who are you? What have you done? And what matters to you?
I mean, that's how some of the scholarships are determined, based on their answers to those essays and being able to elaborate more on the things that they do. And I love that, because you're right. I don't think some of them haven't figured out what they are, who they are yet. And so getting them through that path of, okay, let's decide and let's be, let's serve. I love that.
Yeah. And, I always say, if all of our parents put in 200 service hours before they graduated high school, I think they would have gotten their major a little bit clearer versus like I did. I applied to a bunch of schools and I was undeclared, undecided, and I changed my major 5 times. And
Yeah.
I was that poster child of, I have no clue. I'm a first generation and my parents couldn't help me. And ironically, I didn't want that for my kids.
Oh yeah, that's good, because then you lived through it and understood what that was like. So then sharing that with them is helpful. I always say stories sell and tell,
Absolutely.
Want to start a podcast but don't know where to begin? At Poderific, we don't just produce podcasts, we help you create auditory experiences that will captivate your audience. Our state-of-the-art podcast recording studio, powered by Peppershock Media, is designed for creators like you. Record with high-quality equipment supported by our expert team, and distribute your podcast across major platforms like Apple and Spotify. Whether you're launching your first episode or you're a seasoned podcaster, we got you covered. Visit Poderific.com today to learn how we can help you produce, record, and share your story with the world. Your podcast deserves to be Poderific.
So I know that there's so many different places for people to go look for scholarships, and some of it just seems overwhelming. And some of it just seems like maybe it's just junk and they're just trying to get, their contact information at a young age. What do you recommend that students do? I mean, what kind of resources can they tap into that seems to be more legit than maybe some of the others?
Such a great question. So, number one, I recommend having your student create a new Gmail that is their first name and last name. If they have to have a number or something, I get it, but keep it super simple. The other thing is share that with your parents.
Mm-hmm.
Students don't check email, they check text.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had many a student miss great scholarships because they just didn't check, and you only have sometimes 24 hours to accept. So let's just like start with success, and that's what success looks like. The second thing is the big money comes from picking the right college to apply to. Everybody's chasing these little $100, $200, $300 scholarships. But last year I had 29 students earn $10.3 million in scholarships by just picking the right college for the right student. So I just want to caution families. There are really generous colleges and there are really stingy ones, and they don't care who you are. And I want you to put on your business mindset for a moment. If I come to you for a job and I have very, very little work experience, if any, and I say, but I really, really, really want this job. And you're going to say, you seem like a nice person. Let's give it a try for minimum wage. Now I'm going to come to you with this brilliant resume where I could do your job, and you know I'm going to just jump in. You're going to pay me for my knowledge and my success. That's exactly what colleges do.
Mm-hmm. No,
So
you're right.
picking the right? That's number one. And then having the resume so you get the big scholarships.
I think it is such a competitive world right now, and those who put in the work, they obviously get rewarded, but sometimes you put in the work and you don't get the rewards. What are some things that you see that keep them from getting those big opportunities? I mean, they can do the essay, they can do all the things. What is it that you see sometimes that just doesn't allow them to get set apart or differentiate from all of the other applicants that are in there?
Again, just like marketing, if they look like their friend, sound like their friend, did what their friend did, applying to the same school with the same major from the same high school, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
They're not differentiating at all. So the number one thing that I see is students do what they think colleges want, not what's going to tell the college who they are and what matters to them. So
Yeah.
they're doing all the stuff. They're signing up and showing up to feed the homeless. Well, if you don't want to feed or they scare you, why are you doing it?
Right.
Or they sign up and show up to hand out water at Race for the Cure, but yet they don't even like to run. There's these misconceptions that checking the box is what colleges want, and that is not it at all. So many students will start a club at their school, and they're well-meaning. They're trying to get leadership. They're trying to show, engagement. But a club at your school is the lowest level of any extracurricular. So here students are putting in all this time and energy, and yet it's looked at as anybody can sign up and start a club. Tell me something that is going to set you apart, something unique. And that's where the struggle comes in is these teenagers don't know how to do this on their own. I spend every Sunday for an hour with my students, helping them find their passion and create the change they want to see in the world and then lead others to it. That's an adult, right? Who's helping, because as a parent, they're going to be like, nope, 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 nope. Don't want to do that, mom. Nope, nope, nope. All day long. But I'm giving them the roadmap to success. And they're like, and they get to use their passion with the people they want, and they're learning skills. It's a real opportunity that they just don't know how to get started. I mean, it's like starting a business, right? Entrepreneurs, you're like, oh, it's so simple for me. But people who want to be an engineer or a doctor, a lawyer, a CPA, my left brain people, they're like, well, just tell me step 1, step 2, step 3. And that's not what colleges are looking for.
Right.
That's been the biggest challenge.
There's a good point there, because when you're trying to talk to your own children and, getting them set up for success and they resist, having somebody else come in as a coach, it just suddenly changes the environment, doesn't it?
Oh, I paid somebody to coach my own children with my own words. Because, right? We're the ones, have you done your homework? Have you, da, 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 da. They hear want, 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 want. And as soon as somebody else said, this is really what I recommend, they're like, that's brilliant. And the parents are throwing their hands up going, that's what I told you.
Oh, I know this all too well.
Right? That is just like any other coach.
Well, this has been a wonderful, and Shellee, I think that, other people need to hear this, whether you have students or about to have students, or others that if you're, employer and you have employees who have students who are about to get into, the adulthood of life. This has been really valuable, I think. Kind of any parting final words or any other thoughts that you want to share that we didn't already cover, Shellee?
Yes. If you don't have a plan, you will plan to fail. That's what I want everybody to think about in this section of their life. And number 2, I want to give you a gift of 30 minutes with me and your students so I can help them. So if you go to collegereadyplan.info, INFO, you can schedule 30 minutes with me where all I do is I help them to see, are they ready for college? And that is so important. Again, just having an outside perspective, helping your child see that, yes, what their parents are saying is not completely ridiculous. So it is just for your listeners, and it will be up for the posting of the show. So please, the other option is you can go to Amazon. I have 2 best-selling books. The first one is How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. And the second one is College Admissions Plan Simplified. Both books are on sale right now for 99 cents to your listeners. So please take advantage of my resources. So I hope that you don't have to lose your mind or your money.
I love that so much. Well, thank you so much, Shellee. And if people, you mentioned Amazon, and the link again, you want to say the link one more time that you're sharing with our audience?
Sure. It's collegereadyplan, PLAN.info, INFO.
Excellent. Well, thank you for offering that to our audience. I'm sure we will have people take you up on it, and you'll be booked for a while. So that's great. And thanks for giving us your time today. And I appreciate all the wonderful wisdom that you were able to share with us, Shellee. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, and hopefully I'll be able to help some of your families.
Excellent. And for those of you listening, the best thing that you can do for Shellee and I both is share this podcast with others that you know that need to hear what she has to say, and to give us a review, because that's like podcast gold for us. And until next time, everybody, enjoy your marketing journey.
Thanks for listening to the Marketing Expedition podcast. Want to continue the journey? Don't miss out on new episodes. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. Wouldn't it be great if there was one place you can go to get all the latest information and tips about marketing and advertising? The Marketing Expedition community is that place. People like you gather in our online community to build relationships with others and find the latest marketing trends, tactics, tools, and technology. We help you build your brand and your bottom line. Start your adventure today. Visit themarketingexpedition.com to find out more.